Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this. Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Every time I say it, it's going to suck even more.
Everyone's idiots.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Hi.
And we're here to talk all things tech this week. And boy, golly, there is still tech news.
There's a bit.
Yeah.
There's a bit. Wes only says that because I've been talking basically nonstop for the past hour. So he's...
It's true. There's some news, but you know what? We had an event that actually happened. So we're going to talk about this event. It is called Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards.
Jeff Keighley and his friends.
Jeff Keighley and his friends and why he hates... Never mind. I won't get into that. The Game Awards.
It's really just kind of Jeff Keighley and his ongoing obsession with Hideo Kojima.
That didn't win.
No. Poor Hideo. Yeah. No, listener, the Game Awards happened.
Yes, it did.
You have 3 guesses at who won everything, and the first 2 don't count. So,
yeah.
Ready, go.
Ready, go.
No. I don't think, okay, I'll sum up. I saw a sketch on YouTube in a short about this, where it was just like, the perspective of like all of the games sitting down for an interview prior to the Game Awards and just kind of talking about like, hey, what are your accomplishments and how do you feel about your chances and stuff? And it's a bunch of games, all nominees for best game or whatever. Mm-hmm. A lot of good ones, right? There was Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which is a Death Stranding game. Do those make sense? People seem to like them. Hades 2, absolute killer of a game. Hollow Knight Silksong, obviously, absolutely. It crashed game stores. That's how popular that game was. Huge phenomenon. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, gigantic success. Everybody who played it loved it, right? These are very well-respected, very good games, mostly indie games, which I gotta say, I kind of love to see that, right? Like a lot of really solid indie games this past year. True. So they're all sitting down talking about like, hey, I'm this, new entry in a franchise that people have been waiting for 8 years and yada, yada, yada. And then the interviewer is like, yeah, so how do you think your chances are for winning for winning game of the year? Oh no, it's going to be Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Like every single one of them over and over and over again. And then Clair Obscur Expedition 33 comes and sits down, is all like, I've had a really great year. I really hope I get it. I think my chances are pretty good, like being kind of humble because that's sort of how the development team has been. And then the last one that comes out is Arc Raiders that are all like, no, I think I've got this. And then everyone else is like, no.
Yeah,
who even invited you?
Go invite.
So
Arc Raiders.
Game of the year was Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Just, yeah.
Yep.
Deserving, I will say. I have not played all of these games. I played the original Hades, and I've watched gameplay of Hades 2 and kind of gotten like an overview of the full structure for the game, which does differ from the original. And it's cool. Like, it's really cool. And it's doing the same types of thing that the original Hades did, as well as the original Hades did them, which makes it an excellent game. But it is also a sequel. So I don't know if it necessarily deserves Game of the Year. I think that's fair. Hollow Knight Silksong and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Death Stranding 2, all kind of the same thing. It's like they're doing the thing that the first one did, except a little bit more, a little bit better. And like, that's great. I love that that's how we're doing sequels here. Totally on board. But, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I feel like probably deserved it just for being more unique, for being more original, for kind of coming out of the blue. And then there was Donkey Kong Bonanza that got nominated. I guess it's a law that Nintendo has to have at least one nominated game for Game of the Year. So
It should
there-
always
yeah,
win.
it is.
yeah.
It should always win.
Nope.
Come on.
I will come down on that pretty hard. It did win Best Family Game, if that makes you feel better, Landon.
You just don't like
Isn't
any
it- wait.
fun.
Isn't it a single player game?
I think that there's
Isn't it a single
Multiplayer?
player game?
I
Best
don't know,
family game
actually.
with a single player game.
Eh.
Really?
It's
Really?
I think the category Best Family Game probably should be renamed Best Game You Can Stick Your Kids in Front of and it'll occupy them for a few hours.
Yeah, that might be
It's
better.
the best game to keep you from like beating your kids to a pulp because they're up in your face. That's what it is, but they can't say that.
Best family game. Only one player. Good lord.
Yeah. But yeah, so then Best Art Direction, Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Mhm.
Best Game Direction, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Best Narrative, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Best Performance was Jennifer English for her part in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Best Score and Music, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And Best Independent Game, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which fair, it is a indie studio.
Yeah.
And then Best RPG, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, that's the one category that I'm kind of like, not that it's not necessarily the best game of what was nominated in that category, because the other games in that category were like Avowed and Monster Hunter Wilds and The Outer Worlds 2, all of which were kind of lukewarm, and I have
Mhm.
played Avowed. And I played the beginning of Avowed and the beginning of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Comparing those two to each other, Clair Obscur is a better game than Avowed, for sure. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was also in this category. And I'm not sure that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 was the best RPG. Like, if you're focusing on the role-playing elements of the games and deciding based off of that rather than just the quality of the game overall, I think that I think there's probably an argument to make for something like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 winning that. So that's maybe the one place where people may have some ground to get upset with Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is now that I've said it this many times in a row, is a really obnoxious title that I hate currently, but yes, so that's a very successful round for the developers of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It pretty much won the Game Awards, and honestly, well deserved. I love that this was not a big AAA game that won this. I love that there was no major studio, no huge publisher associated with it. It was a small team with some freelance help and a very small publisher that helped with their advertising. And that's great. I love it. So, and if you want to complain about it, listener, I got to be honest with you. I couldn't care less. Maybe get over it. I don't know. You can take some solace, I suppose, that they didn't win Best Audio Design, which seems a little strange. They were nominated for it, but the winner was actually Battlefield 6. So, okay.
Interesting.
Explosions won. Best multiplayer game, obviously not Clair Obscur Expedition 33, because that's not a multiplayer game. So Arc Raiders did win that. And okay, that's fine. Like, I haven't played Arc Raiders. It's a one of those extraction shooter formats, and as a multiplayer format goes, that is interesting to me. So I may pick it up and try it at some point, but okay.
I hear people compare Arc Raiders to Sea of Thieves. They're just like, it's just the new Sea of Thieves.
Sure.
People that don't want what is it? People that just want to do the PvE stuff complain that there's not another server for PvE stuff.
Yes. Which, yeah.
That's what I've heard.
That's fair. That's valid. Well, and that's the thing, because like the structure of a extraction shooter is such that multiple people who are not allied with each other can win, right? Like you can all get to the extraction point at the same time, and you can extract alongside somebody that is not your friend, and you both get to keep the stuff that you picked up, right? Like you both win, right? But there's a lot of people who are still in that moment going to shoot down the other player because they're jerks, I guess. I don't know. Like it's not like you have to kill them to win, like a battle royale, right? Like battle royale, no, you've got to kill them to win. That's how you win the game. Game's not over until one of you is dead. But that's not how this works. You're extracting. You're both extracting right now. You can both win. Just don't kill the other dude. But no, some people just aren't wired like that. So no, I like that comparison. I think that's accurate.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I haven't played it. I've only heard horror stories apparently about what's happened. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But, I mean, extraction shooters are interesting. I may try it out. I probably won't keep coming back to it like I do with Sea of Thieves because sailing is the reason that I come back to Sea of Thieves. But, maybe.
And you don't have to worry about it. All you have to do is go into your little private thing and you can just sail.
Love that. I love that. Sea of Thieves is like the best game in the world for that. Anyways, best action game went to Hades 2, which well deserved. Hades is a fantastic action formula. And the best action adventure game went to Silksong. So if you want to necessarily draw a line between those two categories, okay. So both Hades 2 and Silksong won an award.
There you go.
I feel like that's kind of what you have to do there because they're both really good games, and it's just wild the games that we've had this year. It's been a great year for that.
So many.
Best ongoing game, I think Wes will appreciate this, No Man's Sky, which I actually believe No Man's Sky is currently one of our nominees for the Cyberpunk 2077 comeback of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it still keeps going.
They have
we don't play it very much, but we appreciate what they have done.
They have completely successfully reinvented themselves by basically just saying, we're sorry, and then putting their heads down and working.
And saying, here's what we promised. Here you go. And more.
We got there eventually, and now they're building on it. And I do love that, Starfield releases with their quote unquote ship customization and shipbuilding mechanics and stuff like that. And then not that long later, No Man's Sky is all like, hey, here's what that should have been. So good stuff. Best sports and racing went to Mario Kart World. Okay, sure. The best strategy / sim game went to Final Fantasy Tactics. All right. I mean, Civ 7 was right there, but sure, Final Fantasy. Okay, whatever. And the best game for community support, which is, the ongoing support game. No Man's Sky was actually nominated for this, but it went to Baldur's Gate 3. So I'm not even sure what kind of community support Baldur's Gate 3 has been getting, but they managed to win an award even not in their release here. So good job to Baldur's Gate, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's obviously a whack ton more events and categories and whatnot, but that's kind of the highlights aside from Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But listener, I think the takeaway is if you haven't played Clair Obscur Expedition 33, probably look into it,
I haven't. It's on my list. It's on my list.
Yep. And it's, for me, landing in the same category as Baldur's Gate 3, which is, hey, finish playing Divinity Original Sin 2, and then you can buy these other games. We'll see if I actually make it that long.
Yeah.
So, that's the awards. However, as we know, the show is actually called Jeff Keighley and His Friends. And he invited a bunch of his friends to make announcements and stuff like that at the Game Awards. So there were a few of those that I just wanted to touch on. The first is called Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic, which is supposedly going to be a single-player action RPG that's functioning as a spiritual successor to Knights of the Old Republic, which is, classic BioWare RPG in the Star Wars universe. Absolutely fantastic game. Loved it to death when I played it years and years ago. However, this game is not going to be coming out anytime soon.
Yeah,
This
was
was
literally
like-
what they announced, and then
Yeah, this was an
That's it,
announcement
yeah.
trailer, so we're looking at probably 4 or 5 years for this because it's a full-on AAA game, and those can't get developed in less than 4 or 5 years these days, and usually quite a lot longer.
if
So,
we're lucky.
okay, cool, yeah, whatever.
Sounds like any other Star
Um,
Wars project.
Is it weird to say that that's coming out in 2030? Is that weird to say?
I mean, it makes me feel old, I guess, but other than that, no.
Right?
How dare
Oh.
you?
I know. I said it.
Also, Larian was back to announce a new Divinity game, which they didn't really. I mean, the text on the screen just said Divinity. There's already been a game called Divinity. There was a Divinity, and then a Divinity 2, and then there was a third one, I think, but I can't remember what that one was called. And then Divinity Original Sin, which was a prequel, and the sequel to the prequel, which was Divinity Original Sin 2, not to be confused with Divinity 2. They are different games. They
I'm
just
glad
said
you-
Divinity. I hope that that's not the only title they're giving it, because otherwise that's just going to make everything so much harder. But yeah, so they're following up Baldur's Gate 3 with a game that very likely is going to be kind of similar to Baldur's Gate 3 in the Divinity franchise, which is, I mean, the Divinity Original Sin games is why Larian got the D&D rights to
Yeah.
make Baldur's Gate 3. So 100%, this is a great idea. Good direction. Love it. Keep going. There was a new trailer for Resident Evil Requiem. If you care about that, you can look that up on YouTube right now. And then a sequel to Control from Remedy, which I haven't finished Control, but dang, is it a good time. So I am very interested. It's called Control Resonant. And yeah, it's going to be a Control game. I don't know. Remedy
Yeah.
is a very interesting sort of developer. So, should be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah.
They had a couple of announcements about Tomb Raider. We're actually expecting a game called Legacy of Atlantis, which is supposed to be a reimagining of the original Tomb Raider game that is supposed to be coming out next year. So that's
Oh.
fairly soon. And then an all-new adventure for Lara Croft coming in 2027 called Tomb Raider Catalyst. Not sure if that's going to be a follow-on from the Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider like trilogy thing that happened.
It might be a different Laura.
Yeah, or if it's going to be a complete reboot. Who knows? But these are all back under the what's their face? The developers of the reboot, but that didn't do Shadow of the Tomb Raider. They did Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, but then they stepped away for Shadow of the Tomb Raider and somebody else took over.
Isn't
on
that
one.
Crystal?
Crystal Dynamics, that's what they're called.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. So yeah, that's coming. The Forest 3, if you've played The Forest or The Forest 2, that I guess they're making a third one. And Diablo 4, okay, I guess Diablo 4 still exists. Wes, can you confirm?
You
Does it
sound so
still
happy
exist?
about this. It does. Yes, they announced their their next with the story, their next expansion with
Yeah.
it, but they also announced, and it kind of aligned with this, to where the same day that they did this, their new season came out. And so with the new season, they added a bunch of things. But if you do pre-order the Diablo 4, you can actually play the Paladin right now. But they are coming out with another class with the story as well. And I don't know, they didn't. I think they said it's like some dark magic wielder or something like that in there. But yes, I will be playing the Paladin. Yes, I will at least play the Paladin and get through the story. We'll see how the rest of the end game goes, but I just want to know what the story is.
You know, listener, I've been playing a lot of Diablo 2 recently. Like not even Diablo 2 Resurrected, just the original Diablo 2. Still runs. You can still connect to Battle.net. You can still play the whole thing online with friends, whatever. It's a really good game. I'm just going to leave that observation sitting there. 007 First Light, right? There's been a 007 game that was announced. It's going to be handled by the Hitman folks. What's the name of
IO?
that? IO, that's the one. So, you know, I'm Hitman 007. I got to be honest, that's a match made in heaven. Those guys should be really good at this. It announced that the antagonist is going to be played by Lenny Kravitz, which is hilarious. But okay.
Yep. Just see how that goes.
Yes, Landon. that's the face.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, there's also going to be a new Total War Warhammer 40K game. That's, you know, Total War Warhammer. If that's your cup of joe, then there you go. More of that. And Star Wars Galactic Racers, which is coming out next year, supposedly. It's a racing game set in the Star Wars universe. It's not, strictly speaking, pod racers, but
well, then it's not worth making.
I'm sure there will be pod racing in it. There will also be other types of racing, I guess.
Not worth making.
Yeah.
If we learned anything from the Star Wars universe, if it's not pod racing, it shouldn't be a racing vehicle, because look at Book of Boba Fett. They gave us those stupid motorcycles that were just absolutely awful.
Listen, I'm gonna say something incredibly controversial. The reason that those motorcycles were awful was because they insisted on shooting practical in the volume, and that was it, which really restricts your space and the speed at which you can move. If they had done it not in the volume, or if they had done it not practical, then it might have been cool. But
that's a big might.
It is a big might, but I feel like they were kneecapping themselves hard by just insisting on, like, no, everything happens in the volume. In fact, the director of Andor called that out one time in an interview. Is just like, yeah, Disney insists that we shoot all of this stuff in the volume. That presents a lot of limitations that I have to work around. But he knew he had to work around them and that there were limitations, and so I guess it turned out okay for Andor. But I don't know if
because
they were
the director
really
of Andor is actually really smart.
Seemed that way. Like, he was talking about the entire pipeline of making a show like he knew what it was, which is refreshing in Hollywood these days. I feel like a lot of directors don't know that. That's a really random tangent, but there you go, listener. That's
my
why
fault.
you're here.
This is my input into gaming. It's nothing to do with gaming.
So yes, that was the Game Awards. There were obviously other announcements that I skipped over because I didn't really care that much, but those were the highlights. The event was like 2 hours long, so you can go watch the whole thing yourself if you want to know more.
You can go see Jeff Keighley and Miss Piggy hang out. Enjoy that.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead. We'll move on. Unless Landon, you got any comments about the Game Awards, I'll let you have the floor now.
Aside from Star Wars.
Aside from Star Wars.
Nothing?
No.
I actually didn't. The only thing that you talked about that I'm like, oh, I heard about that, was the first Star Wars game that you mentioned. I did see something about that. And I saw, I'm like, ooh, new Star Wars content. What is this? Oh, it's a video game? No, don't care.
Oh, come on. Knights of the Old Republic.
I never played
a great game.
I never.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the MMO, Caleb?
No, I actually have it downloaded right now because I meant to.
Back along when it first came out, we played it for a year or two, and that was pretty fun. Like, it really was. It was a good. But I know it's still going. But
I've watched some of the cinematic trailers for expansions and new, like, periods that have been released for the MMO, and some of those were pretty sick.
Yes.
I don't know if the game lives up to that. Probably not, but
No, it was pretty fun. But all right. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll move on. We'll go ahead and get in some Google news here. It looks like the first thing on here is the Android Show XR Edition.
Yeah, so there's been a strangely high amount of tech news for this time of year, listener, and I don't like it because none of it's really great. Some of it's okay, but this is one of those. It's like, couldn't have waited till January? I mean, really? So this thing they did the Android Show is supposedly this YouTube podcast thing. I don't know. And they did this a while back for, I don't even remember what the other Android Show thing they did was. Probably, I don't remember. It was earlier this year. Too long ago for me to care about. This one was all about their new Android XR stuff. And they were talking about new things coming to or going to be using the platform. They talked about how there's going to be some Meta glasses competitors that use the Android XR software on them. Although they did, from what it sounds like, they're going to be more competing with the Meta display glasses rather than just the ones that have a microphone and speaker and camera on them. There's actually going to be like content that you can view through these glasses. They didn't announce any official hardware or really show off any hardware. There were people that went to this event that did get to use some form of hardware to explain how it works and what it looks like and stuff like that. And they basically everything I've heard is it's like, okay, if you've seen what the Samsung Galaxy, I don't even know what they call that headset, their XR headset. If you've seen what that looks like, it's kind of the same idea, but in glasses form. And like obviously less field of view because it's not a full VR headset. It's just a display in front of your eyes on glasses. So it's similar to that, but not as good, obviously. But it's not meant to be as good because it's glasses. They're meant to be cheaper. They're meant to be more usable in the real world. You're not going to walk around with a headset on in real life. Despite what Apple would want you to do, don't do that.
I was gonna say, don't you remember we saw somebody driving with one of those things on?
Yeah, that was dumb. Don't do that either. The biggest thing that was talked about at this thing is they did announce a partnership with Xreal, and they've called it Project Aura. And these are basically going to be glasses, like what they've been talking about for a couple years now. Although these are currently at the moment wired glasses, and that basically makes it so like they don't pair with your phone. They are a standalone headset-ish type product, and like all the compute power is going to be in this little puck that I don't know if it sits in your pocket or if you have to hold it or if it like straps to your head. I don't know. But it's there. And so it doesn't have to work with your phone. And that's actually not a bad idea. I kind of like the idea of a standalone glasses type product. But they didn't announce any sort of release date or any prices or anything like that. It's just and based on its name, Project Aura, they don't even have an official name for it yet. This is still going to be a while before it actually comes out. But that was the biggest announcement that came out of this is like, yeah, we're working on some sort of hardware that is going to be slightly more affordable than the Galaxy XR headset and things like that because they're just glasses. They're, again, going to try to compete more with Meta on the Meta display. So that's really all you really need to know about what came out of this Android Show XR edition, because and even then, like, it's going to be a while before any of this comes to public uses in any real way. But yeah, that happened. It was interesting.
Fair. All righty. Well, moving on. Next thing for Google, YouTube TV confirms new plans are a-coming.
Yes, now this one I'm very, very excited about. Very, very excited.
Yeah.
So,
He's gone full Transylvanian over
I was
it.
going to say, holy cow.
very excited. So, a little while ago, right after YouTube TV and Disney had their little fight for multiple weeks, it was leaked to different places that part of this new deal that Google made with Disney was being able to have a sports-only package that included all the ESPN channels, including ESPN Unlimited, which is basically like if you were to pay for just ESPN, that's Disney's little thing. And so that's what we had heard before. But now it's actually been confirmed. YouTube came out on their official blog saying they will be introducing YouTube TV plans in early 2026. Now, that's all we know on dates so far. We don't like it. They haven't given any official dates. They haven't even given official plans yet. They just say, early next year, we'll launch YouTube TV plans, bringing more choice and flexibility to our subscribers with over 10 genre-specific packages. And then they also talk specifically about a YouTube TV sports plan that'll offer, obviously, ESPN, FS1, NBC, and then you can add NFL Sunday Ticket or NFL Red Zone on top of those things. And then they mentioned that there's going to be like family TV, like family packages or, different things like that. And the ability to bundle packages together. So, like right now for me, I pay for YouTube TV. It's $83 a month. It's a lot of money, but I get a wide variety of TV channels to choose from. And there's a lot of those channels that I don't watch and probably never will. And so the idea of having the ability to just pick certain packages with the channels that I want is really enticing, and it'll also be cheaper than what I'm paying for right now, which is also extremely enticing. Because, I definitely want the YouTube TV sports plan because, let's be honest, that's really the big thing that keeps me with YouTube TV is all the sports channels that they do have. And then, obviously, there's other things to go along with it, but that's the big thing for me is the sports stuff. But then I also like the idea of being able to pick and choose other little plans to go along with that and then saving some money by not having to pay for the whole thing, So I'm extremely excited about this, and I really want it, when they say early 2026, I hope that means January 1. It's not, but it would be really great if it happened really early in 2026 because everything I've seen about this, everyone seems to be really excited about this idea. And there are other, Fubo TV does offer different packages as well. But, I've tried Fubo TV. I didn't, after coming from YouTube TV, the interface was just a little, it wasn't quite as good as what YouTube TV offers. I think there's a reason why YouTube TV is the best and most popular option when it comes to streaming over the internet type TV, because they're really good at what they do. Just everything, the user interface, the options that are there, it's really good. So I am very excited about this and really cannot wait for it to actually come to fruition. And I'm glad that it's official. It is happening. Again, I just want it to happen now. I don't want to wait until early 2026. Google, bring it now, please.
That is exciting. I'm glad that they're doing stuff for you. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the next thing here. New safety feature for Android users.
Yeah, 2 good things that come out of Google in 1 week. Who would have thought, right? So this feature it basically gives emergency dispatchers a live view of what's happening with you. So the way it works is if you were to call 911 or whatever emergency service, like whatever emergency phone number you have in your area, this allows the dispatch to ask. I'm just going to read what they put down here. It says, during an emergency call or text, if the responder determines that seeing the scene would be helpful and it's safe to do so, they can send a request to your device. So the way it works is like, if you're in a situation where, like it says, if it would be helpful for the responder to see what's going on, they send you a text or some sort of request, and then on your device, you say yes or no, and then you can show, like it'll take over your camera, and you can show what's going on around you. This is, unfortunately, this is not something that the user can send on their own. Like, it has to be requested from the emergency response team, which I guess isn't necessarily a bad thing. They're going to probably know more whether or not they need this information or not than you will. But I wouldn't hate the idea of it going both directions. But this is fine. And it's also, they do emphasize that this is an encrypted video stream going going to them, and users can stop sharing their camera whenever they want. Like, if you feel like you've gotten the information that you need or have given the information that they need, you can just stop sharing through the camera at any time. But I really like this, and right now they say it's rolling out to users in the US and select regions of Germany and Mexico. And obviously they're going to want to expand this to more countries in the future, but right now that's where it's coming to. But I actually really like this idea because depending on what's happening, if you've ever been in this type of situation where you're in an emergency situation, you're talking on the phone, there's a lot of adrenaline going on, and it's kind of hard to focus and explain exactly the situation. But being able to just show the emergency responders, what's actually going on, it's yeah, you can kind of explain over the phone, but being able to let them view everything is going to make things a whole lot easier, and they can actually explain things calmly to you to help, bring you down a little bit and make it so you can do certain things to help the situation better while first responders get to where you're at. So I really like this idea. I really hope that it actually becomes a thing that can be not just on Android. I want to see this on iOS, and basically any platform. I mean, not that there's any other platform really, but being able to have this on all devices would be great. And I imagine that Apple is probably working on something like this. And as soon as, I can't say as soon as it's available, it'll be there. It's going to happen next September when they announce iOS 27, yes. Because they can't, for some reason, launch big things like this until it's a brand new version of iOS.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate, but that's the way Apple does things. But yeah, I do love this feature a lot, and I think it will be able to help a lot of people in the future. So if you're on Android, like I said, it should be rolling out in the US and in Germany and Mexico. So I hope that you don't have to use this feature, but I'm very glad that it's there. So there you go. New safety things. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead and move on to some general tech news here. We got Pebble made a ring?
Yeah, listener. Pebble made... Pebble, the company that made, the smartwatches that are technically smartwatches and actually, really very popular smartwatches for what they are. They made a smart ring, but not in the sense that you would think. This is not a ring that, can do heart rate or temperature sensing or count your steps.
Does it really even qualify as a smart ring?
They're calling it that.
That's what they're calling it, but I'm not sure I agree.
I don't agree either. So this ring, it's called the Pebble Index 1. I don't know if it's a Pebble Index 1 or Pebble Index 01 because there is a 01 in the name. So I don't know how you're supposed to say this. If it's just 1 or 0, it's dumb. Really dumb. Like Pebble has been
they've
really
been talking to the nothing guys.
I know. Like they've been really good at coming up with really good names. Like the Duo. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, the Core Duo.
Yes, the Core Duo. Yeah. Oh man. They've been saving Intel for the past year and it's been great. But no, this one, the Pebble Index 01, I'm just going to call it that because that's in the name. It's a ring that has a little button on it that lets you speak into it to record your thoughts periodically throughout the day. Because you can't pull your phone out and do the same freaking thing.
Nope.
It's too difficult to
It's not
do
possible.
that. You have to
With that ring.
have a ring on your finger, hold the button, and record. And you can't recharge this. It doesn't have a rechargeable battery, listener. They're just saying, under normal use, this should last you, I can't remember exactly what this is. I want to say 3 years, or maybe it's longer than that.
I mean, it is essentially just a microphone with a Bluetooth connection to your phone.
Right.
The one wonderful thing I will say about this is the only smart device that has a microphone on it that you can purchase that isn't constantly listening to everything you say.
True.
Like it only listens when you push the button. And that is, as a privacy-focused individual, kind of nice.
Yeah, that is true. But the other thing about this device is it's not like a subtle button put on there. No. It's like it's a normal looking ring until you look at where the button is that is wider and thicker than the rest of the ring, and it's silicone. Like the whole ring itself is like looks to be metal in some form or another, and then that button is plastic/silicone and very ugly looking.
See, if they had made it look like a fake diamond, I think they would have gotten away with it.
They should have partnered with Swarovski. Put some crystals on this thing.
There you go.
But then it would have cost $200.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't fully understand. Like it seems like this is just a pet project of the guy who started Pebble and is now running it once again.
100%.
Because like he said, is like, I really wanted something that I could really quickly just put some thoughts into. And like, you don't have a phone? You don't.
Here's the thing. He's probably not the only one. There's at least a dozen other people that wanted this product. And now they have it.
They all work for Pebble. They didn't need to put it out to the public.
Half of them probably do. Yeah. But no, I mean, come on, that they'll sell like a 20 or 30 of these.
Well, maybe. And I'm sure the only ones that are going to sell are going to be a pre-order, because the pre-order right now costs $75, which is not ridiculously expensive for a ring in general that's, of any sort of decent quality. And definitely for a smart ring, it's on the cheaper side. But again, this isn't a smart ring. It's just they call it that. But that's only if you pre-order it, because the regular price when it's released is going to be $99. Absolutely not worth $99 in my opinion. Because again, listener, you probably have this thing called a smartphone that has a voice recording app of some form or another that you can, heck, if you have an iPhone that has been released in the last 4 years, it's got this other feature called an action button. You can set that up to record straight into the voice recording app. So you literally pull your hand out of your pocket, holding the phone, press the button, and talk into it. It's almost as easy as pulling your hand out of your pocket, using your other hand to press the button on the ring, and talking into it. Huh.
I think the idea is that you're supposed to have the ring on or swivel it around so that you can push the button with your thumb. So that's a one-handed thing. So I don't know if that helps, but
No, because like I said, you
Landon's
can do
looking
that
like
with
it
the
doesn't
phone.
help. Yeah, okay.
I genuinely do not understand why this has to be a product, because like they obviously learned nothing from companies like Rabbit that wanted to make a standalone AI device that you can do the exact same things on your phone. Like there are certain standalone products that are worth having. This isn't one of them, in my opinion. Like, is this the only feature? I don't fully understand. Maybe if you have an old Nokia flip phone that doesn't have data service, doesn't have a voice, at least not a good voice recording feature, maybe this is for you. But then how do you get the stuff off of this device from that?
It costs a lot less than the Rabbit thing.
True.
And I'll bet you it works better.
That's fair, because this doesn't have AI.
Yeah, like I'll bet it actually does what they say it will do. So by that metric, they're way ahead of Rabbit.
That's fair. That is fair. But I don't get it. Like, obviously, this product is not for me. I don't think it's for most people. They're like Caleb said, they will probably sell maybe 20. I know of at least one that they've sold, because there's a tech reviewer that I listened to on a podcast that bought one, basically just to be like, oh, I want to review this product. And I don't think he's going to use it past that.
I will bet money that they are planning on not selling more than the pre-orders. Like, I will bet the reason they're doing pre-orders is so that they can get a count for how many to make. They're going to make that many, send them off to people. It's basically a Kickstarter. That I will bet money that's what it is. I don't think that there is a lot of demand for this, but I'm going to be honest, the type of people who have a smartphone but still carry around those little stick voice recorders because they like them, they're faster than even the action button on an iPhone. It's you push the record button, it's immediately recording, and you don't have to worry about it. There are people that do that. And those people are going to look at this and be like, yes, that exactly. And they'll buy it and they'll be absolutely thrilled. And I mean, I happen to know that none of them are listening to this podcast right now because, like I said, there's 20 to 30 of them. So it's not a big audience, but I'm happy for them. You know, they get this weird, super niche little product just for them. And that's always kind of a special moment, you know, like, wow, this company made a product just for me. Nobody else.
Literally nobody else.
Yeah. So Merry Christmas to those like half dozen people, you know.
That's funny, Merry Christmas, but it's not going to be released until March. So,
well, yeah, but they can pre-order it now. So.
Yes, they can do that.
All right. Well, if that's what you want, fair. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about Instagram, and they actually do something nice for its users.
Yeah, this is actually shocking to me.
Did it just automatically delete itself from my phone? No, it's still here. What?
That's what you wanted, huh?
No, that's not. They weren't that nice. I mean, seriously, they got to get your data somehow. Being off your phone's not the way to do that.
They try.
No, actually, what they did, and I did find this and make sure it was there myself. And yes, this new feature is there. Is the ability to more or less customize your own algorithm. So the way this works, listener, you might have a general idea of how algorithms work. The more you interact with certain content, the whatever website or app or social media place that you're on will feed you more content similar to what you've interacted with. Sometimes for good, most oftentimes not for good. And that's always been the case. And all these companies are using AI and different things like that to figure out what type of content they think you need to watch. But Instagram has actually made it possible for you to go into your settings and it shows what it thinks what it's been feeding you the last, I don't know how long this information goes back and how often it resets on their side of things, but it gives different like bubble topics of different things that you've looked at recently and liked. And you can go in and be like, no, I don't want more of that. I don't want that. Or I do want more of this. Or you can actually add specific content yourself. Like it's got a plus button and you can type in, I actually want to see more of this and less of, it's really, really cool. So I got to hand it to Instagram in this case because this is actually extremely user-friendly and very nice. And like I said, I did go into Instagram myself and find this setting, and it is there, at least for me. And right now it does say it's limited to the US for the time being, but I don't see that being a super long time because this is just, it's a good feature. Everyone's going to be wanting to have that. So I'm actually very happy to see them doing this. And I'm trying to remember where in the settings you find this. Let me look really quick. All right. So listener, you go into your profile, go to the settings area, scroll down till you get to the part that says what you see. And then yes, content preferences, and then your algorithm. And then it'll give you a thing, like it gives you a little text thing. It's like, lately you've enjoyed this and this and this. And then what you want, and then it has a section of what you want to see more of, and it's got different sections, and then you can add on there. And then there's a section below that says what you want to see less of, and you can add things to that as well.
I think mine definitely fits me. Satire, fatherhood, gaming humor, fitness humor, Dungeons and Dragons, family bonding. Yep.
That's a good list.
It's a good list, right? Right?
So, like I said, I think this is extremely user-friendly, and I love that they're doing this. I don't see this happening on Facebook, even though it's technically the same company. Meta owns Facebook and Instagram. It might come to Facebook eventually. It's absolutely not going to be coming to X because, duh.
Yeah.
It might come to TikTok. I don't know, but I don't know if anybody on TikTok really wants that because that algorithm is actually extremely good. From what I understand, I don't have TikTok still. Not going to download it.
It seems kind of spookily good, if I'm being honest.
That's fair. But yeah, so there you go. Instagram is kind of being nice to its users in at least one way. Probably the only way, but it's there.
Fair. I like my there. I was pretty surprised. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like what I like there. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll move on here. Well, actually, doesn't look like we have anything in gaming, which I guess was the Game Awards event. But
we did just,
yeah,
it was an event.
It was at the beginning of the episode.
At the beginning of the episode. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode, listener. Unless, Landon, you got one more thing for us. Yahoo!
Yes, I do.
Never ready for that sometimes.
I do have one more thing, and it is actually gaming related, which, typically that's what my one more thing is. This one is as well. And this is actually potentially good news for, again, a niche audience, probably the 20 people out there that still have this. Google's Stadia controller. Listen, do you remember Stadia? That thing that Google killed off way too early? Yeah. It was a sad day. But if you still happen to have a Stadia controller, they did open it up to be able to work with other platforms. And it was you could use it with other platforms even when Stadia was still around. You just had to potentially remap things to make it actually work well. But now the Stadia controller will work without having to do anything on your part of remapping or changing a lot of settings on the controller. Will work directly with Steam. Now this is obviously more to do with Valve doing things. Has nothing to do with Google doing anything because they probably want you to forget that Stadia existed for some, again, weird reason. I don't know why. But if you happen to have a Stadia controller still, maybe pull it out of storage or wherever it's collecting dust at the moment, you can use this on Steam, and it'll just work as you would expect it to work. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to, tweak any settings on the control. It just will work straight out of the box, or straight out of the storage box is more likely. But yeah, there you go. Pretty cool. They also mentioned
that is cool.
they also mentioned there's specific buttons on the Stadia controller to do certain things inside of Stadia, obviously. One of which was for taking a screenshot or a screen share of some sort, and that button will work as it's supposed to work inside of Steam as well. There were some other buttons. I don't remember exactly what they do. There were some that you could just program to do whatever you want inside of Steam, because the feature that was there in Stadia is not something that is really cared about inside of Steam, from what it sounds like. So you could just program it to do, the Google Assistant key, that's what it was, can now be programmed with a macro command. So you can just have that button do something, because you're not going to be using Google Assistant inside of Steam. Not that you really could anyways, because Google Assistant's basically dead at this point. It's all Gemini. And we all know Gemini's not inside of Steam yet. I don't think that's going to happen, but I can't say it won't. Oof, please, Valve, don't give me an AI assistant. Not that I'm going to use it, but don't put an AI assistant inside of Steam, please.
Yeah, seriously. Fortunately, if there's any company that won't do it, I think it's Valve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. But that's my one more thing.
Awesome. Not too bad at all. Well, that there brings us to the end of the episode, listener. We appreciate you listening. Appreciate you listening to the episode, as well as if you've listened to multiple episodes. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you want to get a hold of us anytime, or want us to talk about something, or just want to give Caleb or Landon crap for anything, you can. You can do that on our social media platforms, as well as callingallplatforms.com. You can check out our YouTube channel there that might have something. Probably not by the end of the year. Probably guaranteed nothing to the end of the year, right?
Yeah. Well, who knows?
There's always next year, I guess.
Maybe you'll get lucky.
You can always check out that YouTube channel over there. Like and subscribe or whatever you want to do there. All right, listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.